All right. Got it. All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome to our Voter Education and Outreach Advisory Committee. We will formally begin now. And if you just came in, please introduce yourself in the chat. Tell us who you are, what organization you belong to, and we will go right into the opening question. We have some folks here in person, but we also have some folks online. So I will be juggling both. Let me know if I miss anything in the chat if you're online, or raise your hand at any point. Let's begin with our check-in question. And I will stop sharing. Good morning. So what is our check-in question today, Diane?
Okay, well, given that we're almost into fall and the pumpkin spice lattes are available at Starbucks. So the question of today is, what is your favorite food that contains pumpkin spice? And I will start. Don't like pumpkin spice lattes, but I like my pumpkin spice in my pumpkin bread. And I'm Diane Leeds, and I'm with San Francisco Peninsula People Power and co-chair of the VEOAC.
I'm Betsy Colby with the League of Women Voters, South San Mateo County. I like pumpkin pie, so
my name is Lilian Perez. I'm with Psycho Harvest Silicon Valley. I don't like pumpkin spice. However, I try a new ice cream salt and straw that is tiramisu with pumpkin, and I like it.
Hello, everyone. Jesse Burleson here from Legal Services for Prisoners with Children, and I will go pumpkin pie.
Sarah O'Brien from Half Moon Bay, and I grew up down the street from Farmer John, if any of you are familiar with him. So for me, pumpkin is my life in terms of food. I love everything pumpkin. I can't think of a favorite. Scones, muffins, muffins with cream cheese. I'd say there's pumpkin ice cream that's great, pumpkin milkshakes. Sorry, I'm so wide open on pumpkin.
That's good. Hi, everyone. My name is Yahaira Ortega, and I am Thrive's Policy and Equity Manager. I don't like anything pumpkin spice flavored.
you're waiting for candy canes. Peppermint.
Peppermint is my season. And I will pass it over to Glenn, and just letting everyone know, we will call on everyone on Zoom since we have a small crowd. And let me know if you can hear us correctly. And everyone in person, please project your voice so that the Zoom folks can hear us. Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Glenn Olson. I'm with the Immigration Institute of the Bay Area. I can't think of any pumpkin spice things, but yesterday we used pumpkin seeds as a crunchy thing in our tacos, and the kids loved it, so that's a win. I love pumpkins right now. My kids ate it.
I'm Melissa Michelson. I'm the Dean of Arts and Sciences at Menlo College, and I love the Pumpkin Festival in Half Moon Bay.
Well, I'm Jim Irizarry. I'm the Assistant Chief Elections Officer for San Mateo County. Pleasure being here. I love pumpkins. I love every way pumpkin. Love them with the cinnamon on top of them. Pumpkin seeds are great. They're healthy for you. So I'll eat it anywhere.
Awesome. And Mike, we were just introducing ourselves. You came in at the perfect time.
I think I heard a little bit.
And the question is, what is your favorite pumpkin spice or pumpkin flavored thing for the season?
Well, I don't eat pumpkin too often, but I do like pumpkin pie, just good old fashioned Thanksgiving style pumpkin pie.
Great. And you are with what organization?
I guess today I'm probably with the VEOAC.
The back.
So the ACLU North Peninsula.
Awesome. Thank you, Mike. And our last person here is Petra.
I'm everywhere. Hi, Petra, Senior Director of Programs with Thrive Alliance. I like bourbon pumpkin pie. That's what we make.
Fancy. All righty. Let's go on to our Zoom folks. We have Dea here on the call, and then you can popcorn it off to anybody else on the call.
Hello, my name is Dea. I'm an AmeriCorps Vista with Thrive, and I do environment and sustainability work. My favorite is the pumpkin spice donuts. They have them at Trader Joe's right now, and the apple cider that goes with it is so good. Thank you. Okay, I'll pass it off to Maria.
Oh, we can't hear you.
There you go.
I'm Maria Lozano from Rosalie Rondeau Center in East Palo Alto, and I like pumpkin spice cookies with a glass of milk. I can't see anybody else, so whoever wants to go next is fine. Dea?
Actually, Nicole, I don't think.
I
you've gone.
can go. I'm Nicole Hawkins. I met Yajaira at gosh, it was at the women's event in Burlingame, and you invited me to come to this, and I have no idea what I've signed up for. So she just said, come, come, come. So here I am.
Oh, great, Nicole. Nice
Yes.
to meet you. And you might have missed the introduction. This is our Voter Engagement and Outreach Advisory Committee.
Yes.
And you will hear a lot more, but the reason you're here is you're an engaged community member. And we'd love to have
Thank
you
you for
here,
telling me what my time is.
everybody. Let's pass it on to Margie, our last person here.
Hi, good morning. This is Margie Gator from the League of Women Voters of North and Central San Mateo County. Sarah, I didn't know you lived in Half Moon Bay. I also live in Land of Pumpkins in Half Moon Bay. I'm gonna go savory and go with pumpkin curry. My favorite pumpkin kind of thing. It's pretty good.
Really good. Thank you, Margie, for that spin. Thanks, everyone.
We have Marianne.
Oh, Marianne, you missed the introductions.
Oh.
We just said our names, organization, and if you like anything pumpkin flavored or pumpkin spice flavored.
Okay, yeah, I'm Marion Brown. My organization is the Area Community Health Advisory and pumpkin cookies.
Thank you, Marianne. Okay, let's move on to the second part of our agenda. We have the elections divisions updates.
Start with Jim, if you're,
Great.
did you get our little email in terms of things?
Yeah, we can cover some of those. So anyway, Jim Rosari, Assistant Chief Elections Officer here in San Mateo County. Pleasure to be here today. And the season is upon us. The election is starting in full swing. We just recently held a judicial candidate seminar a couple of weeks ago. So that really kicks off the season is when you have the signatures in lieu process, but you have the candidate seminars that are coming up. We have candidate seminars that are coming up for the general public in terms of positions. We have the judicial candidate seminar that we had. All of this can be found in our election calendar. If you go to smcvote.org, you will see our calendar. There it has all of the events that are going to be occurring in this election. It's well planned out. A lot of it, of course, is governed by statute and regulations, and we're actively involved with the Secretary of State's office. Speaking of the Secretary of State, we have submitted our elections administration plan under the California Voters' Choice Act to the Secretary of State. We are in that review period, which should be ending just a couple of days, I think. And then that plan will be official. We had a lot of meetings, a lot of input for that process. It's a comprehensive document, 100 plus 50 plus pages, just a lot with appendices. And the purpose of the elections administration plan is to advise the public and get input from the public on how elections are administered under the California Voters' Choice Act in San Mateo County. We were one of the first counties in the state of California to prepare an elections administration plan back in 2015. And this is our third revision, our third plan, second revision. And basically the process is after the first 2 years, then counties have to revise their elections administration plan every 4 years thereafter. So this plan will be from January 1st, 2024 through January 2028. It is a super comprehensive document. It has everything in there regarding the elections, our location of vote centers, the explanation of our advisory committees, basically the importance of voting, voter registration, and all the outreach programs that we have, of which this committee is an integral part of, along with our VAC, our Voting Accessibility Advisory Committee, and our Language Accessibility Advisory Committee. All of those folks and the community at large had a part in that elections administration plan. Please review it. ask questions. We're there to support you on that in terms of any questions that you might have. We're going to be getting that plan out to everyone probably in the next couple of weeks. It'll definitely, the final plan will be on our website, but the current plan is on. So you can go to our website again and look at it. You can find our elections administration plan. That really is the nuts and bolts of what this election is going to be all about. Couple of special areas that are occurring for this election is this year, because it's a presidential primary, we have a March primary election. It's rare. Happens every years or 4 years. It's really rare, and it changes the mix for us. So that'll be on March 5th, of course. But everything is kind of brought up 3 months sooner as a result of that. And then we have a longer period before we have the general election. During that period of time, of course, we're going to be actively involved with the Secretary of State. Because of the nature of this election, most of the offices will be governed by the Secretary of State in terms of their sample ballot and voter information guide. We have to go through Senate, Assembly, Congressmen. Those are basically governed by the Secretary of State's office. The information regarding that will be found in the Secretary of State's website. Anything local, of course, comes to us, and of course, we work really cooperatively on the election in general. There's just a lot of things going on, and one of the most important things that are going on right now is recruitment. We are going to hire approximately 550 employees and maybe more, and that is always a monumental task. We could use college folks, we could use high school folks, we could use anyone that is really interested in the electoral process. This is a fascinating experience. The pay is good. I mean, we go anywhere up to $29 in certain cases per hour. And so anyway, it'll be on our flyers, our brochures. Sarah, you make sure that everybody gets everything here, but hiring is really important. It's critical. It's critical to the operation, and also volunteers. We have a combination of both employees. We have regular employees. Our staff basically has about 19 regular employees. Then we balloon up with another 500 temporary extra help and seasonal employees during the election, and then our volunteers, which are pretty substantive. The 300-400 volunteers will come into an election. So a lot of people. An election is basically made up of people and technology all coming together to work seamlessly. Technology is another subject altogether. The challenges that are coming down the way with respect to security threats that we have, and all of the protections that are going in place that we are putting in our office and working with the Secretary of State, Department of Homeland Security. But that is a subject in and of itself. We can spend a whole session on that. I just wanted to give you a general overview of that. Sarah, you want to add a couple more things?
Betsy, did you have a
I just had
question?
one question. You talked about 500 people. Is that for March as well as November, or is March
yes.
smaller?
March could be even bigger, but November generally is March. March is a big election because we have central committee. And so there's, from an operational point of view, that makes the ballot a little bit more challenging together. But we have 500 people for sure. November generally tends to be a larger election, more people involved, larger voter turnout, so it is a larger election. But in terms of the construction of the election, the primary election is complicated because of the central committee that we have. But nevertheless, we're going to have 500 plus people there, and we'll probably exceed that number.
Who are hired in March, will they have to go through the process again for November, or can they?
We will keep them on. Well, a lot depends on the county HR process. We do our very best to keep people onboarded. The onboarding is a very complicated process, and it takes time, and it's costly. We have to fingerprint people, check people, background check. So yeah, it is a very cumbersome type of process. So if we can keep people logged in, we're going to do it. And right now, I think we've kept over close to maybe a couple of hundred people or more since the last election. We have to usually purge our records within 30, 40 days after someone leaves, but we do have some leeway up to a year and even longer, and we'll push it where we can. So we've identified certain people that will not have to go through that process, but least 50% or more are gonna have to go through that.
We have a question here first with Glenn and then Mike and then Bill.
So, quick question about the eligibility for people you can hire. For immigration status, for example, is any immigration status eligible to be employed or?
You need the permission to work, that's it. So as long as you have that. you're good.
Mike has a question.
Yes, I had a volunteer, I think it was volunteer basis to do translation, I think of the ballot proposition. And I don't know if that kind of person would still be on your records or if I have to have them contact you again.
Have them contact us again. We probably do have them in our records, but you know, there's a lot of change. So it would be great if you can forward.
Might have even been 2022. I can't recall if it was 2022 or 2020.
Shoot them over our way. Translators are really important. That's,
yeah.
Again, that's, talk about a technical process, you know, because we have 4 languages here and many more, but we have to do a lot of translation. And every measure has to be translated and quickly and transliterated. So yes, by all means, translators are really.
2 questions and they're kind of unrelated, so I'll take them one at a time. First is, I'm sorry to apologize coming in late. Did you happen to comment yet about when registered voters might have their records purged? That is, if someone's voted and then moved or changed their name or something to that effect, is their record purged? And if so, at what point does that happen before the next election? In other words, we're out doing voter registration. People tell us they're registered and they come to find out they're not.
In terms of the cleansing of the roll, in terms of keeping our voter files up to date, that's done daily.
I'm sorry?
It's done daily.
Daily?
Daily. So if there is a change that occurs as a result of a change of address with DMV, that record is reflected immediately and we will know. Now, if you have a registered address on file, and we're in the middle of the election and we sent you a ballot, and then we get a notice that you moved in the middle of that and you're now living in another district, we will basically hold your ballot. We will send you a letter saying you have a new address, please make sure that the ballot that we're going to send you for that new address is the one that you vote on, and we will count that one. So it's a very fluid process. It's done immediately. I mean, it's of course, as fast as technology can handle the processing and our staff, but technically speaking, that occurs every week, every day.
What I'm hearing you say is if you're tied to the DMV, i.e. you have a driver's license, then the DMV automatically informs elections of whatever change there was for that person. So we don't lose that person as a registered voter.
Correct.
Okay. What if you don't have a driver's license?
Then you should re-register. If you have a change of address, you do a change of address.
Okay, so those people could potentially be purged then.
Well, again, state ID as well. So it's not just driver's license. So if you have a state ID, which a lot of people like my daughter doesn't drive, but she has a state ID. So she's covered the same as if she had a driver's license.
Does that work the same as DMV?
Yes.
No, I'm asking.
Yeah, oh yeah.
It does.
And all of that information. We don't purge because somebody moved. Those people are in the system.
No, I understand that.
We will find that out when we get a change of address notice, when we send a ballot out, or we send a letter out, and then we get a return envelope. Then we will put that person on a list. We will contact them. If they don't vote in an election or they don't contact us, then within 2 to 4 years, they will be removed from the roll. They're put in an inactive status, and then they will be removed after the statutory periods.
So people, if I understand you right, then if people who didn't vote in the last election, they're still there on the rolls, they'll still get a ballot for the next election. And it wouldn't happen until 2 years went by.
4 years.
4 years went by.
I mean, if you voted last election.
I'm talking about people who did not vote.
Okay, did not vote last election, there's no reason we would purge you.
That's what I was trying to,
yeah,
I was trying to confirm that. And
you do not have to vote to remain
I understand that now. I understand that, appreciate it. The other question I had real quickly was, I was struck by the fact that you said onboarding is very costly and very long. Can you just kind of try to summarize why it's so costly? What is it that's costing so much? And 2, what is it that's taking it so long?
Well, the first step is really recruitment and the staff allocation of staff time. both at our level, we have 3 or 4 people working full-time, more than that. We've got 19 people, things like all of them are working on recruitment. So we have to develop the brochures. We have to meet with HR. We have to get all of that information together. And then we actually begin the recruitment process of advertising, putting it on billboards, sending in letters out. And that's just to get the person to apply. Once a person applies, then the actual mechanics start. They have to meet with us, then an onboarding specialist. They'll meet with our fiscal people. We will review their application. We'll do background checks. We will do fingerprinting. That is a costly process. It's just by its very nature, when you involve the Department of Justice, when you involve HR, when you involve the fiscal union, you involve everybody. You've got a lot of, it's a labor intensive process.
I hear you.
And that's primarily where the bulk of it is, but it starts now with advertising and getting the word out. And hopefully you'll
Okay, thank you.
save our costs
you.
by referring us people.
Great. Sarah, do you have any other updates on the Half Moon Gym? And then if not, then we can move on to Lack and Back updates.
I just wanted to give a quick update about the outreach materials. We're working on those for languages always, Chinese, Spanish, Filipino, and English. Some things we've done for Marion in Tongan, for some others in Tongan. Let's see, something new is that we've added QR codes to our materials. So people will be sent to SMC Vote. I know that's something we've been working on for a while, is to have QR codes. I expect most of the printed materials will be available in early November. And if you could use materials in the meantime for something you're doing, we have, things Diane has used, probably all of these little business cards in red, white, and blue that are the address to register to vote or to check your voter registration status. We have, let's see, some small posters like 12 inches by 18 inches that are pre-register 16 to 17 and register at 18. Let's see, copies of the League of Women Voters, Political Guide to Political Parties. That's only in English right now. Flyers on the voting rights for people who've been involved in the justice system. If you're on parole or probation, PRCS, we have those flyers, and New Citizens Guide to Voting. Excuse me, my voice after I eat something on the way here. So if you have any events coming up, let us know and we'll be happy to work out something to, hopefully you'll come to us, we'll come to you, we'll get them to you. You might need voter registration forms. Question came up recently, someone just said, hey, I need 200 forms for an event. And I've thought, oh my goodness, that's a lot. So I asked some of our experts like Diane and Charmaine Messina, who's not here right now, I don't think, who've done a lot of it. And they say, you don't need 200 for a whole election season, with people being able to register online with DMV. You said maybe you take 25 now to an event.
I mean, if anything, if they're not going to fill it out at the event, they'll take a card and vote online and get home.
I have a question for you. So because we have a lot of food side distribution, something that we did last year was partnership with the counties, with the election offices, and just have you guys go to one of our side distributions and just do like a register event to vote. That's something that you are open to do as well this year?
I mean, we're open to do that, and let's get in touch about what the dates are. So we've worked with the League of Women Voters too, that we're not always able to cover every event. So we had some help from them and from our office, and we look forward to, helping out. The last thing I have really is that we're on Twitter and we're on Instagram and of course the web. So if you have any events, please do the little hashtag SMC vote so that we can repost it and help get the word out, and also so that we're aware of it at the elections office. Somebody calls us and says, is that the elections office doing blah, blah, blah? And it's like, oh, didn't know. So we really appreciate it. If you can let us know And a good way of doing it is, social media.
Two questions for you,
Yeah.
Sarah. If somebody needed a specific language that's not within the 5, right? Like you said, Marianne requested one language. Can people do that consistently?
I mean, if someone were to ask for Egyptian, we may not be able to make that happen because the numbers would not prove out that there's more than, a few people in the county. But certainly if, there's some languages that there are more people, we'll try to get some things. We did some things in Japanese, Hindi, Burmese, and I'm trying to think Korean. We've done things in those languages. So, and those are more common in the county.
Okay, thank you, Sarah. And then the second question for you is, since you mentioned you're on Twitter now, Facebook, and all the social media platforms.
Not Facebook.
Or Instagram, I have used your tag to tag you all when we're doing work out in the community. Are you all preparing a social media toolkit for folks to use to reshare and have that, as you know, most of the folks here are with nonprofits who may not have the capacity to do that. Is your office developing social media toolkit?
Well, we'd certainly do it around the important dates of, if we were really active at this time, people aren't quite up to speed on the elections. I know they'd like to start, some of us around here are ready to go today, but yes, we are working on that. I've actually spoken to some different firms that helped with the census with the county office, executive's office. So, it depends if we'll do it in-house or with another firm.
Okay, and I saw 2 hands up, first Joanne and then Bill. Oh, Joanne, Bill, and then you.
Yeah, and my question was, did you give us an email or somewhere to reach out for you if we do need materials within the next 2 weeks?
Sure, S. O'Brien, OBRIEN, at SMC, like San Mateo County, ACRE, ACRE.org.
And I'll be adding that into the chat box if the folks on Zoom need Sarah's email at the moment. All right, Bill, one question.
Real quickly, yeah, I've been doing some voter registration the last 3 days, and I want people to know who are waiting for material from the county right now that yesterday was National Voter Registration Day. They have a card out now that we distributed to hundreds of people yesterday on National Voter Registration Day, that on 2 sides of it has tips for people to know how to register to vote. And also it's in English and Spanish. And League of Women Voters South County has a really excellent card that we passed out to everybody that has a QR code on 2 sides. One side's in Spanish, one side's in English. One side tells you how to get registered. The other tells you how to get voter information once you're registered. And finally, I just want to add, in terms of what we were talking about earlier with DMV, we ran across a number of students up at Kenyatta who have driver license, but didn't know that they were tied to getting registered to vote through that system. So just want you to be aware of that.
Yeah, colleges and high schools are probably a little different than the general public. Just, people are young, they haven't registered before.
No, they did, they got a license, so
Yeah.
I thought you're registered when you get your license.
There's, if I may add, you can opt out if you hit the wrong box.
They don't know about that. They don't know about that.
If you hit the wrong box at DMV, you won't.
Right, they don't know about that.
Well, that's why, I'm assuming you were talking, is this the card you were talking about?
No, different card, different card. It's got a QR code on both
Oh,
sides.
yeah, no.
No, it's a QR code. It's really good, Diana, because it hooks right into websites and stuff.
Yeah.
Jim has one last one.
Well, it's also important when we speak about languages that we have 45 vote centers. And each vote center, we really go the extra mile to provide literally it's the size of a thick encyclopedia of the ballot in every language that we have in San Mateo County and then some. Don't quote me on the number, but we have like 40 languages or so there. So we don't have to do that. It's not a requirement of the law, but we do that. We've done it. It's our practice. So when you go to a vote center and you speak a specific language, you can go to that particular file and find the ballot in your.
And we also have access to 2 different telephone translation services if you speak a language that someone at the vote center doesn't. If you speak Arabic and we don't, because you know, that's just not one of the ones that comes up all the time. We will get someone on the phone, a professional translator.
Very helpful. We had one question from Lillian, and then I see Margie has her hand raised on Zoom.
All right, so part of the outreach that we do is we're planning this year. I need to confirm this on Friday, but we're trying to do flyers at drop off. So basically or I don't know if you're familiar with Second Harvest, we have some boxes that people can, you know, where they take the groceries, and we sometimes put like relevant information on those boxes, so that way they can have that information when they get their food. Is any chance that the county can support us with any big funding to be able to do those flyers? And if there is a possibility, then how I can connect?
There was about $8,000 spent on that kind of flyer last election in November, and that was basically to the Second Harvest Food Bank, that they wanted San Mateo County and Santa Clara County's info. And, you know, that's hard to do in one sheet. So Silicon Valley Community Foundation gave the 8,000 out of, you know, grant funds in order to have this two sides, two counties, and provide them, you know, we provided the information and I connected the people to get the grants.
Okay,
thank you so much for that information, because
If
yes,
it's
I
just San Mateo County, what we've done in the
we
past is
have.
we've provided Second Harvest with the little quarter sheets
Mhm.
that get just
Yeah.
got put in the bag.
Let me, because I understand that we serve both counties, but for example, last year we have some material, like outreach materials in our warehouse. There is an link that is in San Carlos, so that covers San Mateo County, and we display some regular information on the shopping areas, so like any other like other partners. So definitely I will reach out to
Yeah,
that.
quarter sheets work
Yeah,
really
but
well.
let me check also with my supervisor, with marketing team, and if there is a way that we can just maybe cover just San Mateo County, or the food side distribution in San Mateo County, and then I'll reach out. And
We were hoping.
Yeah.
We were hoping that, but it didn't work out last election. And
Wait, 1 second. Petra?
Jim, do you want to tell us what kind of funding might be available this year for community-based organizations?
Mr. Church has secured approximately 500,000. No, for the whole voter education outreach.
Don't take all my money.
It'll be similar to what we have.
Okay, and what's the timeline?
$150,000.
Okay, so great. So the elections office is going to be offering $150,000 through the Silicon Valley Community Foundation for community-based organizations to do outreach. So two questions. One is there a possibility of having that all happen for both cycles together, so that instead of having two processes, there's a single process?
Everything's possible. I don't know if it's the right way to go. I mean, we need to think about it a little, because there's two different my first reaction is there's two separate elections, two different entities, two different funding years, you know, because the next fiscal, the November, it's really kind of
Because
crazy.
the fiscal years in
Fiscal
between.
year starts in July for the November election. It's in, you know, this July for this election. So there are some logistical issues.
Okay, but I think it's something to think about, because for all of the people who are receiving of grants, it would be much easier if they know ahead of time how much they're getting for both sets of elections and can create a full plan.
Yeah, and I think the next election depends on the success of the first election. You know, we usually like to see how effective was the utilization of that. What did we do? How did we do it? Are there problems? There's challenges? Can we tweak it a little bit? So there's merit there to assess and then move forward.
Well, I think we've had a couple of, you know, several election cycles to assess how well the voter outreach is done.
Yeah, no, I agree. And we've made some changes also, you know, from the
Absolutely.
first time we did it. Yeah.
And then the other question is, when do you think that funding will become available? So that, again, for planning purposes of the CBOs that might receive. the money?
We're in that process right now. Travis Dunn from our office will be, and Sarah will be involved in that. I would say soon, you know, in the next 30 days.
30 days?
Yeah, 30 to 60
For
days.
applications, perhaps.
For application.
That's when people can apply.
Okay.
And then how long after
Great
they apply?
information.
That's pretty quick.
It's usually about a month after they.
So 2 months, we're talking a month and then another month, so 2 months.
Okay.
I
Very
have
helpful.
one more last question.
Just, Lillian, we have Margie who has had
Oh,
her
okay.
hand up for a while. Margie,
Sorry,
we can all hear you. Please ask your question.
Hi, thank you. A little bit ago, Sarah, you were talking about social media.
Will you
use.
speak up or?
Nope.
She's muted, I
Oh,
think.
there you go.
Nope, I'm not muted.
Now I can hear you.
We're good?
Yeah.
Sarah, you were talking about social media use a little bit ago, and I wondered if your frequency of posting to Twitter/X or your social media usage mix of the different channels has changed since Twitter evolved to X.
No, at this time, we're still calling it Twitter because twitter.com works as the website. We haven't gone to a symbol for X on our, social media links yet. We'll see what happens. But for now, we're okay with Twitter.
Okay, you're just posting as usual, active as usual on that channel. Okay. Thanks.
Thank you, Margie. One question, Jesse, I saw your hand first and then Lillian.
Yeah, so, what was your name again, sir? I'm sorry.
Jim Irizarry.
Jim Irizarry. My question is, I know you said it's gonna be a couple of weeks when you roll out the new plan. And I was wondering, if there has been a consideration or decision in regards to the county jail population, going inside or putting some type of ballot boxes inside for those that are currently detained.
With respect to that outreach, that's part of our elections administration plan and it's identified on that. And yes, we have looked at that. We'll be meeting with the sheriff staff to coordinate our efforts. And one of the requests was to have a vote center. We won't have vote centers in the prisons, but we will have ballot boxes. I believe we'll be able to do that or have some kind of service where ballots can be picked up by our staff and be delivered. So we're working on those logistics right now and we will work with the sheriff's department to coordinate that. But to answer your question, yes, on the ballot retrieval process.
Thank you.
Okay. Lillian, I see, is this a follow-up? Or
Yeah,
a
kind of.
different question?
It's kind of a follow-up.
Kind of a follow-up, okay, hold your thought. Lillian, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, so also what we do, we are an organization, 300 people, and we are doing some in-reach, meaning that around like February 12th, I believe that's the date that we came in mind. We're gonna do like a Q&A launch situation where employees can just, connect and we can just share relevant information about voting and encourage them to vote. So we were thinking about if maybe someone from the county, I believe that, we're not supporting any political party, of course, really general information, how to vote, where you can find information. If maybe we can have someone from the county, I don't know, so can just spend like 15 minutes, just explain and just answer questions, because we did that last year, but sometimes they ask specific questions, specific case, and we're like, we don't know, because we just have like really general, so just
When
if
does
you're
that
a bit.
happen?
We're planning on doing on February 12th. Also, part of the in-reach that we do is send emails to oral employees with important dates, just like same as we do the outreach. We decide that in-reach is important because, we can start from, in-house and then also
Sure.
out, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's our pleasure. Just let us know the day and we're talking about working with staff internally.
Yeah, just literally we just send an Zoom link invitation. We invite people to connect during like lunch hour, Q&A, nothing too formal, just people getting into Zoom and just asking questions about voting, and we just explain like why it's important to vote and like how they can do it, and just important date. Like this is the last day for register, this is the last day to vote, this is the last day when you can drop off the ballots, and sometimes they just come with real specific days, like what about if they will know. So we just think that it would be great to have someone.
Let us know the dates and the subjects you'd like to cover.
I've written it down, but we'll want to get in touch.
Thank you. Yeah, and the
The
other
languages also,
I think that English, believe that most of us speak English. So yeah, I don't think that maybe we have like information of like flyers in like all the language that we handle. That would be great too, but I can also ask that to my supervisor and see if maybe there's a possibility of the languages we're open to.
I always love the opportunity to practice mi español. Be my pleasure.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay, great. So do you have any other similar questions to Lillian? Lillian, you're actually talking a little bit about what we're gonna be doing in the next section, next half of VEOAC. He's talking about those events. What are you planning? So please hold all your thoughts. If you have similar things, similar questions, we have the experts now today. So let's move over to.
Sounds like I can wait. I can wait.
You can wait?
Sure.
No, go ahead. Okay.
Well, it's kind of an event / drop-off box question. So at Menlo College, we have about 800 people that live on campus, plus a lot of people from the surrounding neighborhood like to come over to Menlo to vote because we have lots of parking. But we didn't have a drop-off box last time, and there was, you probably remember, there were some communication malfunctions. But we would really like to have one. I think a lot of folks would use it because, again, we have a lot of parking.
Sure.
There is one in the boat center.
It is a boat center, but it was only open for 4 days. And we would like to have the box on campus for the month.
Where is your location?
Atherton, 1000 El Camino Real.
Okay, I thought I heard you said something about a school campus or something.
Dara School, Menlo College.
Menlo College, thank
Menlo
you.
College,
Thank
easily
you.
accessible, tons of parking, a little loop in the front with a flag. We could put the box right there. The president is committed to spending the money for the concrete base. I don't know why we couldn't get it done for last election, but we really want it.
Okay, great. So what we need, and that's great, we'll get it for you. We need to work with Tom. And the other thing is we're working with the colleges, both the community colleges, and we'd like to definitely outreach to the private colleges too, to do exactly that. So there's a pretty intensive campaign by the Secretary of State to engage colleges. So it's part of that process, but really more independent of that also. You know, we will look at that. Chances are it'll be one that is there's two of them. 2 boxes in internal nomenclature. One is called a tank, right? The tank is what you see at elections. It really looks like a tank. Okay. And the other ones are the ones that you see that are a little bit smaller outside of our office. For example, on 555, it's a metal box. It's lighter weight. And then there are mobile ones, in other words, that we might have inside a facility where people can go in the chancellor's office. It's there, it's secured. So what are the other, we'll get you, I don't think you'll get a tank, but the other.
I don't need a tank.
You don't need a tank.
We
Very
could use
few
a
people
box.
need tanks.
We could use a
but
box, and we will be having some events. So I'll let
That's
you know,
great.
we're
Yeah.
planning for
So
some. spring
Tom
Mm-hmm.
and Catherine, you know, let's work with both of them.
Does
and
it
make
need
sure
to
that-
get written in that election action plan?
It does not have to be in the election administration plan.
But we do have in our elections administration plan, the location of our vote centers and our drop boxes. We have a whole section on that.
So I'm wondering if you have to add
Tentatively.
this one?
No, we don't have that.
So that just represents the minimum? And you
No,
always
this
have
maximum.
more than?
Yeah, we only were supposed to have like something 45, we got 55. There were already 10 over the statutory requirement, but that's.
And then you can always add more over what's even in the EAP. if-
Oh, yeah. No, that's a local decision. Right
Okay.
now, we put in the EAP that which we knew,
Mhm.
but no, it doesn't exclude us from being that flexible.
Are tanks, mobile boxes, and the other one that you described, like variations of ballot boxes?
Yes.
You
Yes.
know which one will go inside the county?
Inside the county would be probably the ones like we use at city halls and city clerk's office, which is a indoor and it's secured. And it's metal and block and plastic, depends which one we will put in there, but there's a couple of different varieties.
With permission from the sheriff's office, we don't control that
Kind of looks like a
facility.
mailbox.
Yeah, the
doesn't
sheriff's
it?
office is probably the one that's a metal box like we would use for
Like a mailbox.
No, the tank is an exterior one. I mean, they call it a tank because you can't burn it. You can't. You can't even start a fire inside because it shuts off the oxygen, you know, I mean, it's really quite a device.
Okay.
Because it's built to be protected outdoors from weather, from
Right,
criminals, from whatever. The other ones are secure too, but they're not bulletproof like that one. But the ones we use at city clerks and indoor facilities are perfectly suited for what we're doing.
I am fascinated by the terminology. And I am excited, everyone's so excited to ask your questions. So Jen, tell us if you weren't at our VEOAC here and you weren't in the position, Melissa, right? that she's in right now and just had to ask you in person, what would be the process for advocating for a box?
Contact the Registration Elections Division. The person in charge of boxes is Thomas Day. He's the supervisor.
Okay.
And you can always get in touch with Sarah or myself or any of the supervisors, but specifically Tom Day, tday@smcacre.org. We're gonna go to .gov pretty soon, by the way.
Okay.
We'll let you know about that.
T-Day
Very
at
exciting. .org will still work. you know,
smcacre.org. Alrighty, well, thank you so much for the conversation. This has all been very helpful. We have to move on to our LAC and back updates before we get into the juicy stuff. So Sarah, please tell us what you've all been up to.
Well, let's see, for the LAC, unfortunately, there were some people who were not able to attend the last scheduled meeting that are on the committee. So we're.
Remind us what that is.
Yes, Language Accessibility Advisory Committee. So the group is appointed by the Chief Elections Officer. And we try to have people, different languages. We have Spanish, Japanese, let me see, Filipino, of course, English. And we welcome applications. We have the application form on our website, on the LAC page, the language accessibility. So that committee will be meeting in October, looking at some of the materials that we do in the different languages. Give us any advice that they can on who to reach, as well as what it looks like in that language. The VAC, I don't know if Mike would like to speak to that. Sometimes.
Okay, the Voting Accessibility Advisory Committee, and we also are appointed and approved by the Elections Office and the registrar himself. I think we last met in July, so probably September is our next meeting. I can't recall.
October, yes.
October is our next meeting, okay.
Third Thursday of the month.
Yeah, it's always on the third Thursday of the month at 10:30 a.m., hour and a half. And we basically review accessibility from basically vote centers, access in and out of buildings, documents, any kind of communication that goes on, verbally between vote center staff and voters, everything that interacts with somebody at the level of accessibility is part of our purview. And
most recently, you did the training slides, looked at those.
Right. And we also have various people with different disabilities on the committee. And we're still willing to have more members. I think, what do we have, like 5 now or something? So we're definitely at the low end of where we want to be. Usually we meet quarterly, but every once in a while it's every other month. Like probably next summer, we'll probably meet more often right before the November election. But usually it's quarterly, so it's not a big time commitment.
Mike,
Yes.
can you give your contact information? Because I'm interested.
Okay, I'm not the chair, but
What was the question about contact? Oh, you can call our office, email any of us. We have the general email, registrar@smcacre.org. We have my email, sobrien@smcacre.org.
And her email will be in the follow-up materials, so you will receive her email.
Oh, and we also review the ballot and the voting equipment for accessibility.
Very helpful. Thank you, Mike. One question from Mike. Did I see one from Melissa? No, okay. Go ahead, Mike.
To join those, is there a timeline or is it just rolling basis that people can join?
No, you can apply anytime.
We ask you attend 2 meetings before you apply. So you can call me and, we'll make sure you're, on the email list. And it's right now we're doing Teams meetings. We're doing online meetings. That has worked well for the committee. It's subject to change if they decide it's, always helpful to meet in person like we are today, doing half and half.
yeah, it's not a complicated process to apply.
Thank you. Well, if you're interested in being part of the language accessibility or the general accessibility committees, let Sarah know, and she will refer you to the right person or the right.
I'm afraid I'm the right person.
You are the right
The
person.
elections office controls that part.
Well, the
You can
outreach,
just show up.
yes.
Amazing. Okay. Okay, so let's move on. If there's no other questions for the experts in the room, I'd love to start telling you all about what we did last month and when we all met. So let me share my screen.
Just a moment, I have a meeting, we have a meeting with the Secretary of State
Oh,
at
yes.
10:30, so I'm going to be leaving soon. It's a pleasure seeing all of you. Contact us if you need absolutely anything.
Great. Thank you so much, Jim. Thank you so much for coming.
I will be staying.
Okay.
With your permission.
Okay, amazing. Okay, just some transition here. Thank you for your patience. And so last time we met with a group of folks, as you can see. I like to show pictures because that way everyone can see what we're all doing. So last month we met with a group of folks who were interested in a voter engagement outreach brainstorm. And this was back in August. As you can see, we have some local celebrities. Lilium is on the screen, shying away and looking the other way. Here are some other celebrities. We see Pam and Betsy. And it's just showing a picture of us brainstorming here at CZI with big poster boards, the old school way, notebooks, and just talking to each other. If you want to be part of something like this, we will be hosting our next voter outreach engagement brainstorm on October 17th. And please know, we will meet here in person. We will have the space, some snacks and food, of course.
What time?
The time I will send you all in the invites. In the follow-up materials will be an invite to the voter engagement brainstorm. Please make time to come because we will continue the conversation that started in August. And now we just want to show you on this last slide. This shows you the big poster boards that we use. We see Joanne, another local celebrity who's here in person with us today, talking about some of her events. Alrighty, so I will stop sharing and.
So a quick question. You mentioned the
Yes.
17th, which is a Tuesday?
Yes. it's a
Okay, I
Tuesday.
just want to make sure because most of the meetings are Wednesdays.
It's not a
Yes.
VEOAC meeting.
Great,
Yeah.
great observation, Mike. So this will be a Tuesday,
In case
October
people's
17th
schedules
in the
change
morning.
on different
Yes.
days.
And as Mike was pointing out, most of our meetings are on Wednesdays, but please be flexible with us as we're working with the calendar and we're
Yeah,
working
that's fine.
with the space here. We love this beautiful space and we're so grateful to be at CZI today and for future meetings. So let's move on to the next portion. So I want to tell you, that's what the meeting looked like. Those are the folks that attended. But what you don't know is some of the follow-up that we created after that was Diane and I have taken a couple of steps in order to prepare for the next voter engagement outreach meeting. And the first step being is that we've created a shared Gmail and a shared Google Calendar where folks can tag our email, have it up on this events calendar that will be shared by all of us. It's a community calendar where you can find upcoming events. So my idea is, let's say Betsy with the League of Women Voters will host her next ballot proposition event. Let's say it's sometime in the next couple of months. Let's say it's in November. She will, all you have to do is
Cookies didn't make
add
it.
our calendar email that I will send to you all, and we will add it on this events calendar. And what my hope is that once this calendar is full, we will put that on our Thrive newsletter. If you're not yet plugged in into our policy and advocacy newsletter, please let me know and I can add you to receive some of the updates. And our policy and advocacy newsletter has a lot of information, but mainly my focus is the voter section of it. And this is where we will post the next upcoming event. So if you want your events to be highlighted by Thrive's members and you want other people who follow Thrive's policy and advocacy newsletter, let us know, put it on that events calendar and we will add it to our newsletter and your voice will be amplified in that way. Yes, thank you, Betsy. So that's the first step that we took. The second step is that Diane has so graciously put together a document where we summarize some of the events that are happening in the county in the next couple of months. I put the link for folks on Zoom to access. You can pull up the tab or just watch my screen, whatever your preference is. But here on the screen, as you can see, and I'll zoom in a little bit, Diane and I will go over some of the events that will be happening. We will take the next 5 minutes for folks to take a look at this document and jot down on your notepad or in a mental note what events you have coming up, because we will insert some events in live here now after the 5 minutes are up. So let's just summarize. Diane, what are we seeing here?
So basically what I tried to do was take all those pink Post-its and summarize them in a way that we could follow. So essentially it's by date. So mostly by month. We didn't specifically get down to dates when specific events would be held, where it would be held, who the target population is, and if a community-based organization was identified as organizing the event, we captured that as well. And then you'll see that the events are in different colors, and that was to represent what parts of the county were targeted, because that was one of the things we were trying to do is look at both from a timeline standpoint, when events were being scheduled, as well as what part of the county the events were being scheduled in, to see if we had any glaring holes in terms of time or in terms of parts of the county.
Not me, but maybe somewhere else. So as you can see here, thank you, Diane, for putting together this beautiful document.
And please, I was trying to interpret some of the handwriting, so if I got anything wrong, please let me know. I have the original stuff here as well. But that's what I was able to get off of the Post-its.
Amazing. So I know that some of the people here in person did not bring their laptop, which is completely okay, but some of you folks attended the voter engagement brainstorm and we just have your name assigned, but maybe we don't have the specific date or what target population you're looking to outreach to. So just so everyone understands what the document is, it's a table on a Word doc, and it has a date, a potential date that the event will be, the event location, event name, and then target population, who's the organizer, and just additional notes. And it's all divided by blue is countywide, green is South County, and North and Central is orange, and coast side is red.
And what's the title at the top? Can you read the title out?
It just says voter outreach ideas.
Voter outreach ideas.
Ideas, yeah. So let's take a couple minutes, everyone on the call and everyone in person, we'll take 5 minutes, and your task is this. If you have an event that's already up here, try to narrow down, be specific about what dates you're looking to put up the events. And if you don't see your events, but you know of an event that you're hosting, or you know an event happening in your community, for example, Nicole is very engaged in her community and she may know what the city is doing a certain month for voter outreach. If you know of any events, please add them to this calendar, and what we're hoping to do is then have it in our shared calendar. So we're gonna take 5 minutes and we'll come back at 10:38 and discuss some of the ideas. If your event is already up here, make sure you're filling out, if you have a device, make sure you're filling out the information needed below, but if not, we will take some time to do that. But we will start off with new events that are not on this document.
And we can all add things on our computers as we're talking.
Did you share this with us?
Yeah, can you share?
I have it right here. You can just type it in.
It's on the,
We'll send this, we'll send this
We
thing
will
out.
send it to you all in the follow-up, but right now, let me share it with you. How do I get it to you? Email it.
Sure, yeah. I know, I was like,
let's see.
All right, thank you for coming back. I see some of you got to work and some of us here needed to discuss some of the things with some of our partners that are in person. Let me turn on my camera. 1 second. There we go. Can everyone on the Zoom hear me? Andrea? Can you hear us? Elsa? Margie?
Elsa's on her phone.
Yes, yes, we can. I had to go find the mute button too.
And
Sorry, I'm not good at my phone in hybrid meetings.
Hey.
Okay, great. Just wanted to confirm you can all hear us. Alrighty, so we've had some time to enter some information into this document. Let's start with the folks on Zoom. Were there any events that you are hosting or know about that are not on this document that you added? Or any events that are on this document and don't have an assigned person and it may be your organization? So let's kick it off to Elsa, or Elsa's on your phone.
Yes. No, now I'm unmuted. Yes, I'm so sorry. I also on my phone am incompetent at figuring out how to write on the document. Apologies. So there, and this is remembering dates right now. We've gone to several festivals or big town city sort of annual meetings in Millbrae and in Burlingame, which there are 2 days on the weekends, and we have a big booth there. It does say Democratic at some point, but it's in the background, and we do a lot of voter registrations, and we get a lot of conversation with people from other parties. We've been able to do a lot of 16 and 17-year-olds too, including parents who don't have their teenagers with them, who take forms home. But the next one we're doing is October, the first weekend in October. That's in San Carlos. And we're also doing outreach. We've gotten one of the community colleges, I think it's Skyline, Maurice Goodman, who is on the, there is or was on the commission for the county colleges, is getting us into them. First time we've ever been able to do that. So that's exciting for us.
Elsa, please tell everyone what organization you belong to and what is the event's called, and what's the target population for the event in early October.
That's a good one. Okay, I'm with the DFA mostly, but I'm on the elections committee for
Democracy for America.
But that bill, that's not what I'm representing today. For the San Mateo County Democratic County Council, I know that's partisan, but we try to be fairly nonpartisan when we do this. And the San Carlos event, October 6th and 7th, gets thousands of people, and I don't know exactly the number on that.
Okay, no worries. Do you know the event name?
I should. I can get those to you. What if I get those to you? And do you care about the events we've already gone to when I send you something? Or is it just upcoming ones you want on this?
Ones for people to plan.
Well, the only
Great,
thing.
okay.
Well, actually, this is Diane. So I think it would be valuable, especially for events that are up in North County, to capture ones that have already been done. Because again, one of the things we're trying to see is how is our coverage countywide? So, you know, and we usually don't do a lot up in North County. So I don't want to not capture those. It doesn't have to be a lot of detail. I mean, just so we know where you were.
Yeah.
Perfect. So the one big one I know of, which is later October, it's in the 20s somewhere, is in South San Francisco. And we have not gotten into South San Francisco yet, but James Coleman is helping us. So that's a great link for us to be able to have, and for anyone else. He's a city councilman, ran for assembly, and he's very active and really, he says there are a lot of people who are eligible but not registered there. We're also trying to do more on the coast, and that's somewhat true of the coast also, but particularly that, as Diane points out, the northern cities of San Bruno, South San, and I'm blanking out on one more.
Daly
Daly City.
Okay,
And
great.
Elsa, you might want to add, also, I think we've talked about Half Moon Bay, Pumpkin Festival.
1 second, we will cover the.
No, that's part of her
people.
thing.
In-person people in just a second. We're doing Zoom.
I know, I'm just saying it's part of what she's talking about.
Oh, the part that she's talking about?
A different event.
Yeah, I think we are not doing the Pumpkin Festival, Bill, because we're worried about, but we, again, Bill, it isn't DFA, it's the Democratic County Council. And we just, in the last meeting Monday, decided that the traffic was too difficult for volunteers to get to, actually. That would be great if if someone else can do that, though. It'd be great to get coastside people doing that too, I think.
Get coastside people at the Pumpkin Festival. You're gonna get people from the rest of the county at the Pumpkin Festival.
Very true. And it's very popular with a huge range of county people. So you should be able to get people who haven't registered yet as well.
Okay. Great, thank you, Elsa. If you have any more, please add those to the document. This document will be in the follow-up email. So again,
Great.
one last thing that you're required to do, and as Elsa and Diane mentioned, it would be helpful to know what has already been done and what you all are planning. And just so everyone knows, we need the dates, the name of the event or location, the population, target population, and who's hosting it, and any additional notes, whether you're gonna be tabling or a presentation, whatever it is, add those in the notes. It's important for us to have. Okay, let's move on to somebody else. Margie, what are you planning? Did you add anything to the documents? Do you see anything that you're in charge of already?
Hi, I didn't add anything specifically. We will be doing, we don't have anything on the books right now. But we will do candidate forums and ballot proposition presentations if there are ballot propositions on the primary calendar. For sure, we will do candidate forums. And I'm sure we'll do tabling events closer to the time. We don't have any on our books, but we would be looking to partner with anybody else except Elsa. If you guys aren't even technically nonpartisan, yeah, we would have to be definitely nonpartisan, like if we were to partner. But yeah, that's what we've got so far.
And just so everyone knows, we, Margie, means the League of Women Voters North and Central. For New York.
Yes. And just one thing that tacking on to what Mark was saying is if you do need assistance, use that notes section on the table to highlight. It's like, you know, you could use some help from other organizations or people just to staff the event.
Okay.
Should we maybe highlight those or something, ones where we need support?
Yeah, we can do that.
Yes,
Once
definitely.
it's there.
Okay.
But as you can see, there's very few notes. So it's helpful since this is a shared collaborative space, not only here in person, but also virtual. Make sure you can be as descriptive as possible so you can ask for help when needed from our peers here. Okay, we're gonna move on to Andrea, our last person on Zoom. Andrea, what is YLI have planned for this upcoming year?
Hi everyone. Sorry I couldn't be there in person. My colleague Rod and I and Miriam were talking about doing an high school voter registration booth. We're aiming to match it with the National Week of voter registration for high school students in October. And so that will be concentrated in Daly City. And then I saw that's like the newest update in terms of like most recent, and then we're still sticking to our our schedule we said last time that is in the doc that around the curriculum. And oh, another thing, if you know of any young people or work with them in who like live or go to school in Redwood City, we opened up applications to join our program, and it's focused around youth who are interested in one day becoming sitting on a board, commission, or committee. So that's just a plug-in. And when those youth are going to work on voter education materials and outreach.
Amazing. All right, so if you know any youth who would love to sit on this committee, let Andrea know. Andrea, please share your email in the chat and I can share it with folks in the follow-up email. All right, go ahead and shoot me that information so I can add all the description. All right, let's move on. Thank you, everyone on Zoom. Let's move on to here in person. Who wants to start? Marianne, go ahead.
Yes, so thank you, Andrea. It was good to partner with her a bit. Excuse me. The main topic was getting youth, especially groups that are already organized, to understand more about voting opportunities. So I wanted to mention that the group that I work with already is called the Umoja Health. And there are youth mobilizers that we can train or engage to do some of the work. And I also,
when is that event with Umoja Youth?
well, we already had an event and I
Okay.
wanted to make a shout out to Jesse.
Jesse, yes.
Because I invited his organization to go to it was the Umoja Health. It's usually focused around health, but this organization, Umoja, it's county as far as North County, South County, and it also is across the bay, Alameda County. So there was this 3rd annual health fair. So Jesse was actually asked to be a speaker, and he made a very nice plug for all of us or none.
All of us and none, just encouraging people to get out to vote.
Yes.
Register if they haven't, and mention of, because we were in Alameda, so we got a new Alameda DA that is under fire right now. And so, encouraging people to get out to vote if there is a recall election.
Wow. All right.
But it's countywide, San Mateo,
Okay.
and then also down or across the bay. And I just have one flyer for Diane or whoever might want it. But this is something that already happened and that maybe a few more listed. I'll keep you updated on that.
Okay. Well, thanks for representing us there in the health space. It's nice to get the voter information anywhere, and as you can tell, wherever you can reach folks, Marianne is doing a wonderful job of reaching folks when they're in a health mindset for those conferences. And thank you, Jesse, for advocating for voter outreach. I think I have a question from Lai.
Yeah, just a comment. I don't know if you've seen, Marion, but County Health, we have one that's specifically around why voting is important to health. And we have that flyer in 3 different languages. So if you don't have those yet, I'd be happy to share with you just to supplement your outreach.
Yeah. So I wasn't able to add any more to your table, but the Men's Health and Block Party and Symposium is this Saturday. So if anyone wants to attend, then they're welcome. There's a QR code on this flyer. We don't have any space left for tabling, but I can definitely put out some information and materials if I can get them from Diane or Sarah for pre-registration. That was one of the the areas that Andrea and I talked about too, is pre-registration.
Yeah, and fortunately, we have that on on this document already. So if you have information, send it over to Marianne, she will be there talking about voter education, hopefully a little bit.
About health initiatives, but basically, you know, we will plug in the voter information. And then the following information for North County Daly City is also the block party at the Bay Shore Elementary School.
Okay, all right, that's also on the calendar. What's the date for your block party?
The block party for Bay Shore
Yeah.
is October 28th,
October 28th.
11 to 3.
Okay.
Are you still gonna be up at Kaya Hassan?
I don't think so. There's a few things I'm already committed to.
Okay, all right, so since we have 5 minutes left and it's almost 11, I want to give time for folks that maybe weren't at the brainstorm that may want to let us know. For example, Melissa, I didn't see you at the brainstorm. I'd love to hear what Menlo College is planning for voter outreach, and anybody else that wasn't at the brainstorm, I'd love to hear. We have 5 minutes, Melissa.
Okay, so real quick, we have a student-run civic engagement coalition, and they are doing voter registration right now as voter registration week, because one day isn't enough. And mostly that's all we're doing for this semester, but in the spring, when elections are actually coming and students are more likely to pay attention, we're hoping to do a couple of candidate forums for local contested elections. And of course, as you heard, we're trying to get a ballot box. So the students have a goal of 100% turnout by eligible students. And so we're having lots of on-campus celebrations of democracy to try to get them riled up. And I just stay on the side and give them encouragement and let the students do it.
Amazing. So I'm writing your information down for record keeping. Yep. And I will just add your organization as Menlo College.
Yeah, Menlo College.
Okay. All right, so you all know that you're gonna receive the document, the full materials. I had one comment. Do you have a comment?
I do. I just want to invite everyone to climb the summit because I'm Mateo County, because I can't help myself, but also we are doing like the whole area for youth as well. And people who are interested in climate are notoriously bad at voting. So maybe we can get some voter materials out and just put them there and kind of bring that up. And we will have comments from Kevin Mullen and some of the supervisors there as well. So it's a nice opportunity to.
And this is which, I'm sorry, which group are you?
Sorry?
Which group are you?
Sorry, with Thrive.
What date is the event?
And the event is October 11th. It's all day. We're co-hosting with Nuestra Casa, with Climate Resilient Communities, and with Rise South City. So, and it's going to be at the South San Francisco Convention Center, so that'll be an opportunity as well, because I know that it's very often, North County is more difficult to reach, so.
Okay, before we go into additional announcements, some folks may have trouble understanding what I said by shared calendar. And if you do, I'd love to show everyone what I mean by we have a shared calendar now. So I'm going to share my screen, and for all the upcoming events that you all have that's related to voter outreach, voter engagement, voter registration, whatever it is, I'd love to know about it, and I'd love to know about it by you putting it on this calendar. So what I mean is, okay, let's say we have what's on the Saturday? The block party? What is it, Marianne?
The men's health.
Yeah, the men's health.
Men's health.
block
So
party.
what you're gonna do is on Gmail or whatever app you use, you will create an event. So as you can see here, I just created an event. I will title it Men's Health. And when you go to more options, you want to add this email as a guest. You want to add voteroutreach.smc@gmail.com. You add it there and you fill out the description. Tell me where it is, when it is, all the information you may have. You can attach banners, you can attach any information you may have that you want people to know about right? And this is another way folks can share your banners, share your event. But this is also another way for us to generally know what's happening in the county. So I will save events, and now you've added it to the calendar. I know that Men's Health, whoever can see the calendar, can see, okay, Men's Health is coming up September 23rd. And it'll be at this date, and I would love to get the word out. So here's all the information. Download the event. You have all the information together, and you can put it in your newsletters, put it in your social media, or tag that organization. So it'd be helpful if you create events to always add your organization, who is hosted by. And I will send the specific instructions in the follow-up email, okay?
And that was
So
voteroutreach@smc.com.
voteroutreach.smc@gmail.com.
Well, yeah, everything will be in a follow-up email. You don't have to worry about writing it down. Yeah, I just sent it all out afterwards.
Okay, so I'd love to say, before we leave, we only, it's already 11. Quickly,
no.
two announcements. One announcement from Jesse.
Yes, so I'm announcing that on October 12th, our organization is having a gala event for our 45th anniversary at Legal Services for Prisoners with Children. As y'all may or may not know, our organization was started by women helping women who were incarcerated, being shackled when they were pregnant and all this stuff, and it expanded into a major, organizational presence that has been championing rights of people who are incarcerated and formerly incarcerated. So I think our event is worthy of support, and you can find it online at legalserviceswithprisoners.org. I also would like to ask if there's anyone present that is a part of a qualified legal service provider. QLSP. Oh, okay.
Legal services
Legal services for prisoners.
for prisoners.com.
With children.
With legal.
I'll give you a card.
You can, exchange information after the meeting, but also Jesse, you can send me that information and I'll add it to the follow-up.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Sarah, last announcement before we close out.
October 23rd is the day that the political parties that's the last date that they can tell us if it's an open primary or a closed primary. So October 23rd is really important to no party preference voters, who are about 1/4 of our county voters, about 100,000 people.
Great. Well, thank you everyone for being here in person, being on Zoom. I really appreciate your excitement, your participation, and I hope to see you all on October 17th in the morning here at CPI. It will only be in person, so no hybrid option, because you can only get the one-on-one time with these folks in person. So thank you so much. I will send all the follow-up information very soon. And see you next time.
Thank you.